Senate come back to order. We have messages from the House.
From the House of Representatives, April 7, 2021, message number 458. Mr. President, the House appointed conferees to meet with the Like Committee number 2 from the Senate on amendments to House Bill 36. House conferees are Representative Hunt, Chairman, Representative Jennings, and Representative Yun. Message number 459. Mr. President, the House adopted Joint Conference Committee number 1 report on Senate File 38, Decentralized Autonomous Organizations. Ayes 48, noes 5, excused 7. Signed, Wendy Harding, House Chief Clerk.
Reading correspondence from the governor for the record.
From the Office of the Governor, April 6, 2021, to the Honorable Dan Dockstader, President of Wyoming Senate, regarding Governor's veto of Senate Enrolled Act number 54, being original Senate File 114, State Land Leases. Dispensing with the reading, sincerely, Mark Gordon, Governor. From the Office of the Governor, April 6, 2021, copied to the Honorable Dan Dockstader, President, Wyoming Senate, regarding line item vetoes on House Bill 121, state-funded capital construction, House Enrolled Act number 73. Dispensing with the reading, sincerely, Mark Gordon, Governor.
Thank you. We do have to announce we have a second Joint Conference Committee, House Bill 36. Continue with the same assignments, Hicks Chair, Kinski, and Driscoll. Senator Hicks, you may want to note before we close out here, time that you'll be meeting. Okay, signing of enrolled acts, Enrolled Act number 73.
Senate Enrolled Act number 73, being original Senate File 38, an act relating to corporations.
That's signed, Senate Enrolled Act number 73, the same being Senate File 38. So signed. Mr. Floor Leader, let's turn some time over to the Chairman of Education for a report. And then, Mr. Floor Leader, we are waiting for a couple of other conference committee reports. But with that, folks, pay close attention to this. Turn the time over now to Chairman of Education, Senator Scott, discuss 173.
Mr. President, we've been meeting in conference committee past 2 days and informally before that with the House on their recalibration bill, House Bill 173. And it is a great disappointment to me to inform the Senate that our attempts to come to an agreement with the House have ended in failure. And let me set the stage and explain a little why. You know, we have a structural deficit in education. We need to do something about that because it is draining our reserve accounts. And sooner or later, the exact timing, depending really on the state of our economy, we're going to get the reserve account drained down to the point where education is going to have to live on the education funding. And that's approximately a 30% reduction, which would be just catastrophic and I think would result in major tax increases and major service cuts. When we set out, it looked like we could solve our problem, at least in good part, by a reduction in spending in education at about 10%. And, you know, school districts are fairly typical human organizations. In the good times, and they've had good times without cuts for 20 years now, without any significant. There were 2 tiny reductions in that period, but just 2, and they were tiny. And they build up a bunch of things that are nice to have, nice to do, but you really don't have to. You take advantage of a downturn to reduce things, and 10% reduction is not likely to hurt. Almost all organizations go through that at some point. Many of us go through that in our personal lives that are worse. It's very doable. The federal government, we were going down that road. Remember, we passed a recalibration bill here. The federal government, with their stimulus money, and the restrictions that come with that, maintenance of effort restrictions. Changed all that, and the recalibration bill turned largely into how do we deal with this federal largesse that we're getting and deal with it effectively so that we can deal with our structural deficit. The feds allowed a reduction in the maintenance of effort of 3%. The House took advantage of that with the amendment that they put on. You remember the debate on that. The Senate agreed with them on that and further knew more about what the federal requirements were because of the speed with which this happened, and put some sideboards on the spending of the federal money at the district level, such that it would have resulted in spending the federal money first and having state and local resources build reserves for the future at the district level. And that's where the conference came apart, Mr. President. It became quite apparent that the House viewed the federal money as first something to backfill the 3% reduction, so the districts wouldn't see any reduction in spending. One of the representatives of the conference committee was Fred Blunt on that subject. The second thing is they wanted the federal money to be available for the districts to spend whatever, and we're willing to save only a small portion. We thought we were going to get an agreement, that compromise agreement we were going to save 75%, equivalent to 75% of the federal stimulus on for every $4 that they spent, they had to put $3 of their state local money into a reserve account for the future. The House wanted to reverse that percentage and go to 25%. And basically prevent any reduction at all for a school district. And frankly, Mr. President, that's not living in the real world. They also came over here with a proposal to raise the sales tax, which you recall was rejected by the Senate in a 5-25 vote. They also wanted to mess around with a bunch of diversions of funds, putting money from one pocket to the other, which frankly, money is so fungible, I think that doesn't make any difference, but they set great store in it. I thought we were going to get an agreement on that. We were very close. There were some other differences I think we were going to have no trouble agreeing on. But the fundamental point, Mr. President, was that they wanted to keep on spending forever. We were frankly negotiating with a set of tax and spend liberals, classic tax and spend liberals, that think that they can just tax forever and that you never have to rein government in a bit. And said, look, it's time to reassess and refocus on the basics, which I think an attitude which I think is hurting our education system, but that's the attitude. And it looked to us like we were not going to be able to budge them off that position. So, Mr. President, reluctantly, I report that the conference was a failure. My recommendation to the local school districts, if any of them are listening, Mr. President, is they better take that federal stimulus money and find a way, spend it the way the feds require it, and then take your own funds and put it in reserves because you're going to need them. Because we're going to have a disaster as the spending exceeds what our reserves are, and the districts are going to need to have some reserves to live through that one. But Mr. President, very reluctantly, this is a failure, and I recommend that you do not appoint a new conference report. I don't think with the attitude and the management down there, there's any chance we can get an agreement that the Senate could in good conscience adopt.
Thank you, Senator. Senator, are you open to questions or discussion? You just want to leave it at that, sir?
Mr. President, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any further discussion? All right. There being none, we'll move forward.
Mr. President,
Go ahead.
I don't want to discuss. I do want to commend Senator Scott and all the members of the Education Committee and the Conference Committee for valiant effort. We know this problem's not going to go away. They've thrown themselves into it. They've learned a great deal in a very short period of time, dedicated themselves wholeheartedly. Their intentions are sincere. They put some good offers on the table. They were turned down. And we know we'll be back at the table again. But my thanks to them for all their hard work and their efforts on behalf of K-12 education, the citizens of the state of Wyoming, Mr. President.
Yes, I think we add that to your comments, Senator Kinski. As the body remembers, we were working on this and dealing with it way back in the early part as we worked through the budget and other matters related to education. This has been ongoing. So this is a difficult time when we reach a point where we can't go further. And I think it's sound advice from the chairman of education to our districts. All right, signing enrolled acts, old act number, House of Representatives, House Enrolled Act number 93.
House Enrolled Act number 93 being original House Bill 127, an act relating to the public health.
About to sign House Enrolled Act number 93, the same being House Bill 127. So signed. House Enrolled Act number 94.
House Enrolled Act number 94 being original House Bill 254, an act relating to the funding of government operations.
About to sign House Enrolled Act number 94, the same being House Bill 254. I've so signed. Wait just a moment. We have a conference committee report here to handle. So just stand at ease for just a moment rather than close it out. While we're waiting for that, Senator Hicks, have you got, we reassigned you to Joint Conference Committee 2 on House Bill 36. You got a time for that you want to note?
Yeah, in about 5 minutes, Mr. President.
Very good.
We're going to try to meet with our House colleagues.
Thank you.
And Mr. President,
Go ahead.
I am ready for the Joint Conference Committee report on House Bill 92.
Thank you. I just got it handed to me. So is ready. Reader, please read in the, this is for Joint Conference Committee number 2 to House Bill 92, referencing Senate Message 413. Please read that in.
Senate Message number 413 referencing House Bill 92, Revisers Bill.
Senator Hicks.
Mr. President, I move Joint Conference Committee report on House Bill 92 Revisers Bill, Senate Message 413, and ask for the Senate to vote aye on concurrence. Members, this is the reviser bill. We've been holding this back just to make sure that we had any last minute technical corrections. We've just gone in and they've added some more language to the House Joint Resolution 11. That's the substance of the bill. Mr. President, with that, I would ask for an aye vote on concurrence.
Any discussion, any questions? Senator Case, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would urge a strong no on the revisers bill. We could make a statement here today.
Further discussion or questions? You want to go back to you, Senator Hicks?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I don't know what we make by making a statement that we don't want the technical corrections going into the green book. So I would move for an aye.
That was my concern, that we'd have some technical problems in.
Mr. Chairman, there'll be plenty of opportunities to make a statement.
Yes, okay. Motion is that the Senate do adopt Joint Conference Committee Report number 2 referencing House Bill 92 and vote aye. Chief Clerk, please call the roll.
House Bill 92, Joint Conference Committee Report number 2. Roll call. Anderson? Excused. Baldwin? Aye. Whitman? Aye. Boner? Excused. Bouchard? Aye. Case?
No.
No. Cooper? Aye. Driscoll? Aye. Ellis? Aye. French? Aye. French, aye. Thank you. Murphy?
Aye.
Aye. Guru?
Aye.
Aye. Hicks?
Aye.
Aye. Hutchings? Aye. James? Aye. Kinsky?
Thank you, sorry.
Aye.
Aye. Cole?
Aye.
Aye. Cost? Aye. Landon?
Aye.
Aye. McCune? Aye. Nethercott? Aye. Pappas? Aye. Perkins?
Aye.
Aye. Rothfuss?
Aye.
Aye. Salazar? Aye. Schuler?
Aye.
Aye. Scott? Aye. Steinmetz? Excused. Wasserberger?
Aye.
Aye. President Dockstetter? Aye. Closing vote? Closing. Vote closed. House Bill 92, 26 aye, 1 no, 3 excused.
By your vote, you have adopted Joint Conference Committee number 2 referencing House Bill 92. Okay, Mr. Floor Leader, we have just in the works right now, probably in just mere minutes, we have the House Bill 36, we have the Senate File 121 working through. We're down to just about that. Do you want to give us just a few minutes, wherever our floor leader is? I keep losing him. Mr. Senator Case, could you give us some counsel as a substitute floor leader and say, we'll just stand till it
How
stand.
about if we take about a half an hour and stand
That
at ease
works.
till the sound of the gravel?
Excellent floor leader work.
It's a motion.
Thank you for the motion. All in favor, say aye.